Hi, I'm Paul Solomon. I am the owner of Luhu Realty and Luhu Advisors. I'm a licensed real estate broker, a licensed real estate agent, a certified senior advisor, and I'm an ambassador to parkbench.com. I interview local businesses so that they can connect with local residences. So today I have Josh Blum with Mutual of Omaha Mortgage. Welcome.
Paul, thank you.
Glad you can make it.
Yeah, me too. Thanks for having me. This is fantastic.
Yeah, so today this is a conversation that I'm having more and more with my clients, my over 55 clients that are out there, and people wanting to understand. So within the mortgage world, what do you specialize in?
I like to say I'm hyper specialized because I don't do any type of mortgages except for one. I'm a reverse mortgage specialist, and that's it.
Okay, so when you say reverse mortgage, you know, there's a lot of information or misinformation out there. People get all freaked out. There's commercials about it. What's some of the misinformation, let's say, that people right away, I mean, I know what the misinformation is, but what is some of the things that you hear that are completely wrong?
A lot. How much time do you have?
Right. Well, we only have a short period of time today.
A lot of the big things I hear from people is, if I were to sum it up into maybe three,
Right.
You're giving up ownership of the home to
Right.
the bank. And I think it's helpful for people to remember that most banks are in the business of lending money and not owning homes.
Right.
The second thing that people tend to think is they're disinheriting their children
Right.
if they have kids, and this is only appropriate if you don't have beneficiaries.
Right.
Could it be further from the truth? You're just choosing to spend money out of the house instead of spending money from outside of the house.
Right.
So a lot of times you can pass on more wealth to your kids if you use it appropriately.
Right.
And then the third thing that people tend to think is it should be a last ditch solution, Paul, right?
Right.
This is my last choice, my last option. I'm backed into a corner. Now I should look at this.
Right.
It's actually been completely debunked by academics. It's probably the worst way to use a reverse mortgage. You should probably be using it sooner and strategically so you don't get backed into a corner.
Right. So I know that because between my real estate office and my advising office that I have, using reverse mortgages for families that have seniors that maybe need home care. So we go in, I call you, and then you come in and say, okay, this is how much money we can pull out, and that would help pay for the care. So that's one avenue that we've used it for. And then the other side, which I think is even more fascinating, which is, it's really, the word is not out there yet, is the HECM for purchase.
Right.
So tell me a little bit more about the HECM for purchase, of which we just completed one for our friend Barbara.
We did.
And it was pretty wild because the other real estate agent who I was working with had no idea about it, and she didn't think it was legal, and she didn't think that it was ever going to happen. And it really closed within the 30 to 40 days like a normal mortgage, and we kept money in her account.
Yeah, it was life-changing for Barbara. And it's always an interesting dynamic when you're getting calls thanking you profusely for changing somebody's life.
Right.
When typically you're the one thanking them for the opportunity just to serve them. So it's a really powerful thing. The two things you just described are 2/3 of my business, working with 62 and better clients. The HECM for purchase, HECM home equity conversion mortgage, is the FHA insured reverse mortgage. So we're still talking reverse mortgage here, right? It's a really unique tool because it came out in 2009. You know, the traditional reverse mortgage is all the way back in 87 and 88. It was signed into law. It's been around for a long time to help people age in place. In 2009, the idea here was to help people get out of homes they were in into a new home that's more of a right-sized home for them.
Right.
It's the home they want to age in instead of the home they were in.
Right.
So it's a really interesting tool to allow somebody to come in with about 50% down and purchase a home and still have no monthly principal and interest payments.
Yeah, I mean, it really is a great tool, and especially when I'm getting clients from outside of Florida coming down here, and they want to pay cash, they don't want to have a mortgage on something.
Absolutely.
And then I'm like, okay, but maybe you can even buy a bigger house or more expensive house, and I'm only putting half down because you have the cash. So I know we did that with a client of two also, and they couldn't be happier because now their financial advisor can keep some of their money, right? They don't have a mortgage payment. And the third thing is the appreciation of the house. So where is it not a win-win? Win, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. You look in the market today, especially with housing, and it's hard to find a house within budget for what people want.
Right.
I mean, there's just not a lot of supply currently.
Right.
So to be able to double your purchasing power and still have no monthly payments is just, people are sitting back and going, wait, it's too good to be true. You
Right.
tell me more about. There's no way. There's no way. It's that shocking disbelief we had from the other realtor that this can't be right.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're talking about, type of thing.
Right.
And the truth is, it's just not really well known because you're not going to find it at your major banks on the corners where most people go.
Right.
And unless you're working with a professional like you in the 55 and up community, you're probably not going to have somebody introduce the concept to you.
Right.
But it's incredibly popular. I got to say, half the people that I talk to about it, once they hear about it, they use it.
Yeah, until they speak to their tennis partner, golf buddy,
the plumber,
the plumber,
oh,
the plumber, and they said, my fourth cousin twice removed said, they're not good, so don't use it. Mm-hmm. There's a couple basic rules, like you have to be over 62. What are just the 2 or 3? I know there's primary residence. Right?
Right, exactly. So 62 and up, easiest way to think of that is, hey, if I can start Social Security, I can look at this.
Okay.
It does have to be a principal residence. I can't do a reverse mortgage or a reverse for purchase on anything that's not where I'm actually living or planning on living.
Right.
And generally, that holds true through the life of the loan. It has to maintain as your principal residence.
Right.
But generally, this is a pretty incredible loan. You're 62 and up. It's most likely going to be a single-family home, a townhouse or a villa.
Right.
Probably not a condominium.
Right. That's the tough one.
That is. If you stay current on your taxes and insurance, you live in the house, and you abide by HOA regulations and maintain your property, you will never have to make a payment because payment doesn't mature.
Right.
Which is pretty incredible.
Yeah. And so to get into one, yes, you need a down payment, whatever it is, and we'll say approximately 50 to 55% that we're going to need to put down. What about other expenses, closing costs, and I know there's a course somebody has to take to be able to qualify, So what is it? Is it just a course, whatever cost that is, and then do they pay for an appraisal? Is there any other cost involved?
Great question, Paul. So there is counseling that's mandated by HUD, Housing and Urban Development, turns around and says, okay, anybody doing this has to do counseling. It's really not all that relevant or intended for purchasers.
Right.
Again, this is a program that's been out since 2009. The reverse mortgage has been out since 87, 88. Right. Counseling really doesn't apply very well for purchasers because we're dealing with people with assets and money.
Right.
You're not poor and broke and only left with the money in your house if you can put 50 to 60% down on a property.
Right.
There are closing costs. They're pretty much all financed for the most part. So
right.
that counseling is probably going to cost around $150 or so out of pocket.
Right.
Could be an appraisal deposit you're paying for about $300. Outside of that, your closing costs are financed into the loan. So when people hear 50 to 60% down, that is inclusive of all the cash they need to bring in to close.
Right. Yeah. So again, it's not something where it's people hear about the cost of it, but the cost is being financed. And people don't understand as the house appreciates, interest, they could get a fixed loan or an adjustable mortgage on it too. And then again, people can then take the money out if it's using as a reverse mortgage. The money that could come out can be taken out in a couple different ways. Correct.
Yeah, so when you're switching back and you're talking about reverse mortgages in a more traditional sense where you have access to money, there's a lot of flexibility in there. That's a big miss for most people. They think inflexibility reverse mortgage because so many people in their minds think of it as a loan of last resort.
Right.
But when you're not treating it that way, it actually is much more flexible. So cash up front lump sum, line of credit, income stream for as long as you live in the house, even that's another 40 years, guaranteed and insured by the FHA.
Right.
Not a bad thing. So real access to help people age in place and really live a comfortable and more secure retirement, which is always my goal.
Right.
How do we make your retirement more stable and more secure?
Right. And that's kind of how we work together all the time, because whether somebody's doing a reverse mortgage and they're a senior with health issues, then there's something that I can maybe help them with, trying to get government benefits on top of that. So you can pull some money out of the house, but then we could also get benefits for them to stay in their house for as really long as they want. So it's kind of a win-win when we work together that way.
No doubt about it. And anybody out there who's thinking this through, it probably helps to realize that there's just so many instances we need to get creative when it comes to retirement and benefit planning.
Right.
We can't just fall into cookie cutter boxes, all of us. Everybody's situation's unique, and the longer we live, the more creative we need to get.
Yeah, and then unfortunately too, their financial advisor doesn't have all the answers. Their CPA doesn't have all the answers, and even their attorneys, whether it's an estate planning attorney, they don't have all the answers because that's not their specialty. Mm-hmm. And between you and me, we kind of cover all that because we're asking all the questions. And I, like the lady that I was just speaking to before, go say this to your attorney or go say this to your financial advisor. At least you're more educated going in there. And education's a big part of what you do, and education's a big part of what I do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I know that you have a passion for something else besides doing the mortgages. Tell us a little bit more about JB and the Doctor.
Well, thanks for asking. And I love the segue because it's all about education. So JB and the Doctor is a coaching and consulting business for entrepreneurs and service-based professionals. So think real estate agents, loan officers, financial advisors, attorneys.
Right.
People are out there and offering services to the clients that they help and that they serve. What I noticed over a lot of years of working alongside other professionals is there's just not a lot of education around managing your time, managing sales and client relationships, and consulting, which is really what sales is today.
Right.
And then there's a whole lot of missed confidence out there, and people struggle with this. Just having an easy conversation, messaging, clear and concise language. And so we developed a community, a private and free community that anybody can join as long as they're a service-based professional, where we help give them the tools and resources to get better with their time and their sales and their confidence. We have a podcast every single week. We have a blog out every single week. And we have a community where we just drop information and resources and give people the chance to give back too, which I think is really a unique thing.
Yeah, because again, it's kind of coaching, but not coaching, but you're with a group of people and you're kind of bouncing ideas and things off of each other, which a lot of people need.
Yeah.
Like myself, like you, we're on this little island by ourselves trying to do our sales and marketing, but it's hard when you're not part of an office per se, and you're just doing it day to day. So it's definitely a great opportunity. How can people either see something or reach out through JB and the Doctor?
So I think you can search for us online. You're likely to find us. Not many businesses with the name JB and the Doctor.
Absolutely.
So we try to have some fun with that. We can also provide a link tree that has all of our social media links and all of our assets in one place. So if anybody not familiar with Linktree, it's just it's a one-stop shop for everything that we offer out there. It's a really unique tool. We can, I'm sure, include it in the video notes for anybody who's interested.
Okay. And kind of wrapping it up, we could be here for hours, talk about different situations, different clients.
Are you inviting me?
No, not this time. Maybe the next video. So tell everybody how they can be in contact with you, phone number, email, website.
Yeah, absolutely. So the easiest thing is going to be email, jblum@mutualmortgage.com.
Okay.
They can also reach out to me directly on my cell phone if they're interested, 203-648-6060. Yes, I am here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, but I still carry the phone number from back home.
Right.
I promise I am local.
Great. Thank you for watching us today. And if you know of any of your local businesses that might want to be interviewed by me, I'd love to reach out. We go either to them or they come to me, and we can get them on parkbench.com. And to watch this video and other videos, go to parkbench.com/West Delray Beach. And if you do have somebody, they can reach me at 954-540-6609. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you at the next interview. Thanks.